Hello, everyone, and welcome to Brewing Connections with Bible Networkers, the podcast where faith meets entrepreneurship and real relationships matter. As you already know, my name is Anna Dominguez the Show, and I am the founder of Bible Networking, and where we believe that when God is at the center of our business and connections, amazing things happen, doors open, purpose becomes clear, and lives are impacted. This podcast is all about sharing entrepreneurs' stories and how God has turned their journeys into purpose. There is so much we can learn from each other, and today is not the exception because our guest is a kingdom minded entrepreneur who is building more than just a business. He is building people, community, and purpose. Jimmy Estrada is a business mentor. He is a speaker and he is a co-founder of JELA Payments, where he helps small businesses and business owners navigate payment solutions with integrity and transparency. With experience in entrepreneurship, healthcare operations, and music production, he is passionate about relationship driven leadership, empowering others through mentorship, and building businesses rooted in trust, faith, and lasting impact. In this conversation, we'll talk about his journey of faith and entrepreneurship and how God has moved in his business relationships and what it really means to grow a network and the business that honor him. So, welcome, Jimmy.
Thank you. Good morning. Beautiful introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. And I can't wait to really hear more about you. And I'm sure we're going to be learning more about your journey. And it's going to be a testimony, I'm sure, for others that are going to listen to this, to your story. So tell us, what is your professional story? What are you doing?
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing now. We can kind of work a little backwards, but currently I am in the merchant service space. We focus on setting up businesses to take payments, credit card payments, debit card payments, any of those type of payments, ACH. So we set business up to take payments, whether it's going to be an online solution, whether it's going to be a POS solution, terminals. That's what we do. I've been doing this now for about 13 years in the payment space, and I kind of just stumbled accidentally into this industry, but it's been a very rewarding and just amazing. Like you mentioned at the beginning, meeting business owners, getting to learn from others. It's really been a growing experience and a learning experience as I meet other industries, other businesses from other verticals.
So, what inspired you to turn like business mentorship and payment solutions into a purpose-driven calling?
I would like to say that it's something that I planned out, but I think it was just my curiosity. I've always had questions, even if it's an industry I don't work in. If I'm having lunch with somebody who has an industry in whether real estate or coaching, I always ask questions. I ask very similar to question as you is like, what got you in here? One of the things that I noticed is not everybody, but often people kind of stumbled into it. They saw a problem and they wanted to bring a solution. That's usually the key theme. And I think same thing for me. I realized there was people out there that were getting burned in payments. There were contracts. There were all these different things. They didn't understand certain terminologies, and I felt good to be able to help them out and say, man, it's always amazing to be able to make a living helping people that may have a problem and finding a solution. That's really my biggest thing in any industry I've been able to work in is finding a solution.
I love it. Awesome. So, how did you end up where you are right now?
I graduated high school. I knew that I wanted to be a music producer. That was my dream since I was in eighth grade. I remember saying, I know what I want to do. I wasn't going to go to college. I just wanted to get out of high school so my mom could just get off my back and I'm done with education. And I wanted to dive into music. I moved to back to Los Angeles, where I'm originally from. I went back to the LA area, went to school for audio engineering. It was an awesome experience, interned in some amazing places. And I was excited. Started a record label and this is before the YouTube days. This is when you actually had to record demos and meet with meet with executives. During that space, I had gotten married to my beautiful wife, who we now celebrate 21 years in March. At the
Woohoo!
time, at that time we had been married already 3 years. I was working on the music thing, working on that dream, and at the same time, I was working in healthcare. I was working in a dermatology clinic. I had worked my way up to as a supervisor because I had to pay bills. So I figured, in the meantime, I got into healthcare by default and it was paying the bills. I liked the hours. I liked the environment. Once again, love solving problems for at this time would be patience. And one day I just had this come to Jesus moment. My life wasn't the best that I should be living. I had a beautiful wife and I had soon a kid on the way. And I think all of those sensitive timings just really allowed me to listen to his voice. And I felt God had called me to let go of that dream. And my question was, then what do I do?
Yeah.
And I guess that's where faith comes in, right? I didn't know what the answer was yet, but I knew what he was asking me to do. Long story short, I got into healthcare as a consultant, all by accident. I'm now educating doctors how to start their practice, how to hire staff, what EMRs to use, how to get them credentialed. I was working on behind the space on the business side. I was showing them how to even get reimbursements from insurance companies, who paid more, how they paid, coding. Never went to school for billing, but because I was involved on the business side of it, there was a lot of things that I took I wouldn't say I took for granted. I just didn't know there was value in what I knew. And one day, a good friend of mine, Andrew Yu, he is the owner and founder of Business Payment Systems. He's been around in that business for over 20 years. Him and his wife, Maggie Yu, have started a company in merchant services. And I remember when I would set doctors up, they needed a credit card machine to take payments. And I would call Andrew, hey, Andrew, this person needs to get set up. I don't know much about this industry, but I know you've been in it for a while. And can you send me a terminal? Can you walk me through it? And long story short, I realized that it was another solution I was bringing to doctors. And I realized there was a way to not only bring that solution, but there was also a financial reward in that. So that's kind of how I got into the space. I thought I was going to be in healthcare forever. Got to the point where I was doing better off in this industry, merchant services, but I had so much passion for healthcare, and I had a hard time on separating, because I'm like, I don't want to just leave something because of money. But then I was quickly reminded by my beautiful wife and said, you need to be able to give 100% to one thing. And what is that one thing? And I realized, I am still helping find problems here and help people with solutions. And it was a wider range. It wasn't just like a restaurant. So that's kind of how I ended up getting into the space. Andrew, you brought me underneath his wings and taught me what I know. And here we are, 13 years later.
Oh, so that could be like the biggest turning point in your career then.
Without a doubt, without a
Yeah.
doubt. There was a time I was doing kind of both, but I knew I had to pick one or the other. And I'll be honest with you, I do still miss the healthcare space. I owe a lot to the healthcare space. I always tell people, if tomorrow I woke up and I lost everything, I would probably continue doing finance, because this is what merchant services in the financial market. But I do miss healthcare often, because once again, I wasn't meeting one doctor. I was meeting different doctors, different clinics, different industries, very similar to what I do now, and bringing solutions with technology. That's another thing in healthcare. It's a lot of it has to do with technology that we're constantly realizing every year with our beautiful, systems and professionals out there. And so at the end of the day, they're very similar, even though one's in finance and one's in healthcare.
I love that. Awesome. Awesome. So now diving into networking and connections, can you share a time when a single connection changed everything for you? Because we know that
Mm.
connections are very important, and I've heard a little bit of your story and testimony in one of the meetings. So I know that you're very passionate about this too, but just share with us a single connection that changed everything in your career.
That's a great question. I will say, before anything, I think connections have to be genuine. I think often I was speaking to somebody who I highly respect last week, and they said, I want to start a business. I just want to start something just so I could start making money. And I told them, once you think that way, that's a problem. I think first you should find out what problems are out there that you could solve, and the money will come. Same thing with connections. I think if we try to build connections just for the purpose of, hey, maybe one day I'll get something out of this, somehow people see it either subconsciously or consciously, and it rubs people the wrong way. Or you may talk to somebody today, but then you'll never follow up with that individual because your purpose was just one thing and you don't really care if they could bring value to you. But
Mhm.
for me, what really changed my life is, I remember one day, I had walked into a dealership. I was introduced to the CFO of this company, and I had told him about our merchant services and how we could save the money and how we could bring a better solution. And he was really kind. He's like, yeah, 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 we're with so and so. It was a big bank institution, so we're fine where we're at. And I said, okay. And I kept on. And at one point, I was able to get, proposal to him, but they were fine where they were at. But it got to the point that every time I would drive by this location, maybe once or twice a month, I would just pull up, go upstairs. Hey, Mr. So-and-so, how you doing? Oh, I know that we would just talk. At this point, we had got to know each other. I got to know a little bit about, he was married, he had kids. I knew he had grown up. Same thing with me. He knew about my wife, had just had twins. So it became more of a real friendship, I would consider. And I would come by and visit him often. And during this time, I remember it was like month 6 months into it. I'm leaving his office. Oh, it was good seeing you. And as I'm leaving, he said, hey, we're ready to switch. And I remember instead of being excited, instead of being professional, I was like, why? I was caught off guard. I wasn't prepared. But that situation, he goes, what, you don't have the business? Oh, no, 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 no. He realized, I was caught off guard. That specific dealership was the biggest dealership in North Texas at the time, and it may still be the biggest dealership in North Texas. And because of that, it opened a lot more doors for me for other dealerships within not just Texas, Oklahoma, California, Tampa, Florida, Miami. It opened up so many other doors for me because of that one relationship. Today, they're still my client. And it's been now, I would say 13 years since I've been in the industry. So about 12, 13 years, they've been my client. I still visit them often and we're still really good. I would like to say not just acquaintances, really good friends. So that's one thing that really changed my life. Not so much on the financial side, even though that was a huge benefit, but it changed my life because it made me realize, like I mentioned at the beginning, genuine relationship. I wasn't going in there just asking for the business, which by the way, you should ask for it. I just forgot about that. But it was definitely something that I realized that people are often reading you and wanting to know who you truly are before what you do.
I love it. Yes. That has to be like written down on one of my notes right now. Okay, so now when you approach your relationships, like start building, or you just, set up a connection, or you meet somebody for the first time in business, then how do you stay in touch with that network in a very authentic
Mm.
way that people can trust you?
I know people's time is valuable. And I know sometimes when I approach people, they're naturally, our human instinct is, what do they want from me? There's got to be something they want from me because they approach it. I think we've all felt it when we're walking and you see somebody come right up to you and you're, either going to ask you for money and sometimes, depending on your situation and your time, it could kind of rub you off the wrong way. One of the things that I don't like is when somebody comes up to me and is extra bubbly and extra nice when I feel like I'm already feeling you want something from me. But being in sales, I'm open to it. I hear them out, I learn from them. But there's been times when somebody comes up to me and I don't feel that pressure, and we still begin a conversation. So I think when I approach people, number one, I like to know more about them, find out about them, find out about their business. And as I'm looking at things and I'm listening to them, I could figure out, can I bring a solution to them? Now,
Mhm.
you don't always get that in the first meeting. You may realize, oh, okay, there's nothing I could bring to them. But here's one thing I think often people will do. They'll say, there's nothing I could bring to Anna. Sorry, Anna, bye, and leave. I never talk to Anna again. I never see Anna again. And that's it. My problem is, what if Anna knows people that may need my solution? So if you could meet somebody, build a relationship with that individual, then trust you, and they ask you, so what do you do? I think whenever you share with people what you do, it has to be clear, it has to make sense. Sometimes what we do, it's a little confusing. Make it make sense. And in Anna's time, if she has somebody who may need your service, she'll say, I know this guy that does this. I think it's similar to what you're looking for. Let me just do that connection. But it's all because the connection of the relationship I have with Anna was genuine. I
Mhm.
got to know what she does. She got to know what I did. And it's just a great time talking. So the first time I met with you, Anna, immediately I could tell you, I don't know everything about Anna, but I could tell you she has a kid. I could tell you roughly where Anna's from. I know Anna loves tacos. I know Anna now where she lives. So these are things that once I meet the individual, I like to say this: find common ground. All right, find something that we could relate to. There's 1,000 things we can't relate to, I'm sure, just because of life, different culture, different upbringings, different languages. People have all that every day, which is beautiful in itself. But find a common ground. I think we have a lot more in common than most of us would like to admit, even with somebody who we think we have nothing in common with.
I love that. 100%. Yes. So now, diving back into your career, what is a mistake that you've made in your journey that others can learn from?
I think often for me, people would say, oh, salespeople, because we're all salespeople, whether we like it or not. We don't like to admit it, but we all want to sell something, whether it's, hey, hire me to this job or
Right.
pick me.
Uh-huh.
to be your date, or hey, I want to be your husband. However you want to look at it,
We're
whatever.
always selling ourselves to
We're
somebody.
always selling ourselves, right? But there's nothing wrong selling if you believe in whatever you're selling. That's what I tell people. I don't feel like I'm selling. I feel like I'm testifying, and hopefully I could change your life. At least that's the way I look at it. But one of the things that I have often fallen to is you got aggressive sellers out there, and then you got individuals that I like to consider myself that sometimes we often fall into the friend zone. We forget that we do have to sell a product that we know that could change someone's life, but sometimes we're too afraid to come off too aggressive, especially when we know, I know what I have to offer to this individual because I know another problem. I know will help them, but how do I convince them? As a parent, I have three teenage girls. Sometimes like, I know this is right. How can I convince my three daughters this is right? And I think often we could either do two things. One, be overly aggressive and turn the situation off. Or sometimes we could just be too much in a friend zone that we back off and don't necessarily reintroduce something that could change their ways. One of the things that I learned is that often, like the story I told you at the beginning, 6 months, I get up to leave and he says, we're ready to switch. As beautiful as that sounds, I wasn't prepared to say, okay, perfect. I should have been prepared to say, oh yeah, perfect. That tells you that my mind had gone too close into, hey, we're just friends, which is nothing wrong there. That I forgot I have a solution that could actually change this individual situation for the best. So
Mm.
that's number one. Number two, I would also say is asking for the business. Never be afraid to say, hey, Anna, it was great having lunch with you. It was good. Just once again, you don't have to sound like you're selling every single time. And it doesn't have to happen every single time you go out to eat. Hey, just a reminder, if there's anything I could do for either your business or anybody in your business that is wanting to look at their payment fees or whatever the case may be, just know I'm here. I'm always open here to talk to them. Okay, cool. Sometimes it just takes 10 seconds to say that. And then the rest of your meeting, conversation,
Mhm.
hangout could just be what you're doing. If that person's listening, they know.
Mhm.
And if you presented it clearly, they know. But for me, was sometimes we're afraid to ask for the business because we're so busy saying I'm not about business. But I think that could kind of backfire at times. So that's where I've often realized, don't be afraid, ask for the business.
I love that. So that could be also the advice that you could give someone that is starting in your industry.
I would say in my industry, there's obviously a lot of learning curves, like in many industries. I obviously, talk a lot, as you guys may or may not know. But one thing that I would add is ask for the business, and I think silence is golden.
Mhm.
By that, what I mean is when you ask for the business, silence. Because when you ask for the business and then you try to sell on what you ask for, you don't give the person enough time to really process. And I think that's really where a lot of sales are lost or made. So often one of the tactics people will do is they'll ask for the business, and as they ask for it, they could be on selling, 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 selling. The person feels a little overwhelmed. Even if they say yes, they may sign on something and not really feel like they made a decision based on logic, but based on emotions or being pressured. I think that silence moment, even if
Mhm.
the answer is no, that silence is gonna help a lot. So ask for the business, say, hey, so Anna, are you ready to take that next step?
Mhm.
Silence. Let you answer that and then move on from there.
I love that. Awesome. Okay, so now, what is something that you wish more people knew about networking?
I wish people knew that I say this often, it has to be genuine. It has to be genuine. I was pleased, would say about a month ago or less to attend a network event where
Mhm.
people, when I sat there, they're actually having conversations about family. Hey, how's your son? Hey, how's this? And it was intermingled a little bit with business, but the beginning part of it was really just that. And I think networking is a huge, huge thing because we all live typically in the same communities and the same ecosystem, depending on your industry. And those networks make a huge difference. I always tell my kids, be careful how you talk to somebody. One, because we're all humans and we need to give each other that respect, made in the image of God. That's number one. Number
Mhm.
two, you never know this person who one day works for you, you may have to work for them. So
Mhm.
make sure that this network you have, you realize it's not just always about what you could offer someone, and it's not always about what they could offer you on the business side. Sometimes it could be someone as, hey, this is the person that goes fishing with you on those down days. Hey, maybe there's a person you go out and get a drink with because you trust this individual. So I think we may overlook networking as only business. We may sometimes not realize that there's so much more to that fruit of friendship.
Right.
All right. I
Right.
think network is great, but network with genuine friendship or intention, real building, doesn't mean you have to hang out with the person every day and go to other cookouts, but
Mhm.
it definitely means that there's got to be a genuine relationship there. So I think networking plays um, a huge role in growing whatever it is that you're growing, even if it's growing yourself as an individual. So network, I think it's everything. It really is.
It's gonna be the way for people to trust you in a more effective way, what you
Without
said.
a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt. You
Yeah,
need that. Much needed.
I love it. So now, who could be your dream connection to meet and why?
From a business perspective, I would say for me, as anybody who is in business, taking any type of payments, whether it's credit card payments, ACH payments, and would like to know more on, hey, is there a better way for me to take payments? Is there a way I could save some money in this? Those are always good clients. Usually when we meet with these clients, we're not selling them on anything. We're hearing them, we're seeing their setup, and we're either going to leave saying you have an amazing setup, or you have a good system, but you have a better system, or everything is good, but what if we could change that pricing to put more money in your pocket? So for us, it could be anything. It could be from a coffee shop, it could go all the way to a dealership, it could be to a solopreneur who is selling books online. But not everyone, I think you would agree with this. I hope not everyone do you want to be your client, because as much as businesses as there's out there, there are some businesses that you may want to help. And depending on their mindset, now moving business aside, depending on how people run their businesses, some people are just not ready to start businesses. And if you come to try to help someone out who's not prepared, it could drain a lot of your time, a lot of your resources. But if you find someone who, hey, I can't help you now, but I can redirect you to someone like so and so who could help you grow this brand. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, 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 100%. Now, what is a book or a tool or maybe a podcast, of course, besides Babel Networkers, that you cannot that you cannot live without right now?
We literally have 5 pages left on a book. We're reading a book as a family. I'm really big on reading a book as a family. And
Aw.
I don't like to overwhelm my kids. They're not always happy when we sit down to read it. But today we finished at 5 pages,
Nice.
and we read 5 pages every day. There's some days we don't get a chance to do it, but the plan is to read 5 pages every day. We started off, everybody reads, and then we come together. But now we just read it together.
Mhm.
And this book is called Do Hard Things. It's a book that was primarily for the young people, for the teenagers. But I've read this book and it's changing the way that I look and value life. And
Mhm.
it talks about doing hard things, not just when you're an adult, but doing hard things for those young people who are listening while you're young. It helps you build so much more momentum and discipline. It's a faith book, but it's also a book of entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
also a book of discipline. And so that would be one of my favorite books. There's another book that's coming out of my mind right now. I have it right next to me in my drawer. I think it's called, and forgive me, I'm saying it wrong. I think it's called Unreasonably. Give me one second. I have to find this, but it's one of my favorite books, because I think Unreasonable Hospitality, I believe is the name of the book. And it talks about basically how you treat others. It's kind of what we're talking about now.
Mhm.
It's more than just business. So those would be the two books that come to my mind right now, and I hope I said the one right. I'm over here trying to find it on my phone. But those would be my two right now that I would definitely. Here we go. I just wanted to confirm. Reasonably Hospitality, I believe is what it's called. And if not, when you guys Google it, then you guys could correct me when I'm wrong.
So two books.
Two books, I would say
Those
that.
are things. And what was the other one?
Unreasonable
Unreasonable
hospitality.
hospitality. Okay.
And it says here, the power of giving people more than they expect. So I just pulled it up here. Um, is by Will Guidara. I heard about this book. It was given to me as a gift. And what caught my attention is I went to New York City. If you guys get a chance, there's a restaurant called 11 Madison. I believe that's what it is. 11 Madison. And he was involved in this amazing restaurant. They've Michelin star, one of the best restaurants in the world. I think they've won that a few times. 11 Madison Park. And when you walk in, the experience, the customer service, I'm just blown away. And then this book, when it was given to me, I realized there was a connection on every
Is
detail, every detail.
that restaurant a steakhouse?
They do. So it's a restaurant that was a seafood steakhouse type, and then it went to a plant-based, and now it's like a half and half type of restaurant. It says here it
Mm.
has 3 Michelin stars in New York City and in Madison Square Park. So yeah, it's definitely that I would definitely recommend people to check it out. And it also came out, it was ranked #1 on the world's 50 best restaurants in the world, by the way, 2017. But this book talks about not so much the food, although it's great. It talks about the experience, the expectations,
Yes,
and
I remember
yeah,
it being there. It takes a while to make a reservation. Like you have to
it
make a
does.
reservation way before you even think about it,
Yes.
before you're buying
No,
your
no.
ticket.
That's exactly what it is. I just recently took my mother last week. She flew in from Texas. So we celebrated Mother's Day a little later, face to face. And took her out to dinner at a steakhouse here in the Tampa area. And I could tell the waiter, I often tell people when waiters are everything to you, the experience, the way they communicate, how they bring things, how they apologize about things. You could learn so much from people who serve because
Right.
ultimately I think we're all called to serve.
I love it. Yes, we came to this world to serve actually, right?
I agree.
So, what is a fun fact about you, Jimmy, that most people in your professional network do not know, but they're gonna know today or when
Well,
they
I would say that we talked about the music. Most people don't always know about my music. I love writing songs. I'm not a pianist, but I can sit in the piano and make it seem like I know how to do something good. So I think that's always a good surprise when I see a piano and I can sit there and play. It's something that I'm passionate about. And I think most people are surprised by it who don't necessarily know me outside of the professional space because I'm so focused on what I do. They're like, man, and I say music to me, it's a way to relax. So that's one thing I would say. I love making music, love writing songs, and I think that. And then nowadays it's interesting. I always tell people I got twins. I have my oldest who will be 18 in August. She just graduated high school, and I have twin girls. So I got 3 girls. I don't know if that's a fun fact or pray for me fact, but those are definitely some things that I always love to share about myself when people ask.
You are so blessed. You have four
Right.
women just around you every day. That's
Yes,
amazing.
indeed, I
Okay,
agree.
so what are you currently working on that you're excited about?
Oh, great question. So my business doesn't focus just in my community alone. I got clients from Hawaii, I got clients California, all the way down to the south of Florida and in between Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, you name it. But right now, one of the things we're focusing on, we're really focusing on growing in the Tampa area. I want to be able to be that person that the people in Tampa knows, even if I'm not their first choice, definitely be their plan B and just want to build that. So one of the things we're really, really, really passionate about is in Tampa, growing, letting people know we're offering just, hey guys, we're here to give you free information. If we're great, pick us. If not, just know we want to be your Tampa payment solution. So that's really what we're working on right now on that project. And then the second thing is for those who live in the Tampa area, we just started a Tampa YouTube page called Jimmy Jumps into Tampa Bay. And basically what it is I'm going to different businesses. It could be a restaurant, it could be a tailored suit, it could be a yacht company, it could be you name it, coffee shop. I'm speaking to the owners and just asking them, why did you start this? Tell me about you, because I want to let people know in Tampa, hey, we're still growing. We have not hit our peak yet, even though sometimes traffic makes you think otherwise. And I think it's something I'm passionate about. I want to give back to the community. I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about my business. I'm talking about their business and getting to know what they're doing and what kind of value they're adding to Tampa. So that's one of the biggest projects I'm excited about. Jimmy jumps into Tampa Bay on YouTube.
So how can we support you?
Just Instagram, you could always go on Instagram and follow JELA Payments, the JELA Payments. I
Mhm.
post different things on there. And then definitely go to YouTube and just type in Jimmy Jumps into Tampa Bay. And you could subscribe there and follow. And we have, I think, now our third episode that either just came out yesterday, and I'm excited about it. So these are all Tampa businesses, and we have our fourth one we're going to do on Friday, this Friday. So I'm looking forward to try to push one or two out every month. And anyone out there who's a business owner that would like to share their story, it's fun. We come to your location and just ask some questions and let people know about your business in Tampa and also grow. So I'm really excited about that.
I love that. So you're serving the community and impacting. Awesome. I love that. Awesome. So is there anything else, Jimmy, that you would like to say before we end this episode? Sadly.
Well, I just wanted to thank you, and I can never finish off by saying that all of this is amazing. There's books, there's solutions, there's resources, there's networking, and I just want to inspire everybody, encourage everybody, including myself, that every morning we wake up to connect with our Creator. I think there's often times where confusion, anxiety books can't take that away, but I do believe that our God can. So I just want to empower people and encourage people to connect with him, even if it's for a few minutes every day, because I believe that does, to me, that definitely changes my morning, my day. It's not always perfect, but I connect to somebody who is. So just want to encourage that. And thank you, Anna, for allowing me to come and share my story and wishing everybody with businesses and those who work at businesses and those who have families to continue following their dreams.
I love that. Yeah, I definitely can see God shining on you and everything
Mm.
you're doing, impacting
Well,
and
thank you.
serving. Yes, I love that. So, guys, keep showing up, keep building meaningful relationships. You have another testimony and keep walking in purpose. The best is still ahead. And we're going to be sharing the information of Jimmy so you can get in touch with him because he will impact your business or personal life, you never know. And just give him a call and he probably come and do an interview in your business. So stay blessed, stay connected, and see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.